Okay, and then we get started. Welcome to this year's 2025 OSP Conference. My name is Knut Aurdal. I'm the head of projects here in GC Blue Maritime. And now it's actually the third consecutive year where we are co-hosting this together with SINTEF, DNV, the Norwegian Digital Catapult, and Kongsberg. And why Ålesund? Why do we do this in Ålesund? I take up this picture when I get people visiting here. If you draw a line around 1.5 hours with car around Ålesund, this is the type of vessels that are built in this region over the last years. And I can borrow that. In the years to come, this is vessels that will be built. And it's built throughout a complete maritime value chain. So even though Ålesund is a small place, when it comes to advanced maritime technology, it's the place to be, I would say, with being a little bit modest. And that's really what we like to do also in GC Blue Maritime. Our role is to bring experts together, utilize the cluster effect, because that is when magic actually can happen and new ideas can grow. And that's what we hope will happen today as well. I will tell a little bit about the practical stuff first. The toilets, that's good to know. That's out this door on the side here, or up and to the left. And then you find it, probably. There's not planned any emergency fire drills, so if the alarm goes off, it's probably the same. It's the real deal. So you just follow the guys going to the toilet, but you take right out where you come from. Coffee, you found us outside, and there will be taken some photos during the day. So if anybody doesn't want to be photographed, let us know. A little bit on the program, as you see behind me. We start off with some updates on different industry projects. Then this year we will look a bit more into what is happening in other industries. Before we move on to lunch. And for the lunch, there's a voucher that you got when you picked up your badge outside in the back of it. If you don't have that, contact us on the break, and then we'll find it to you. We will have the lunch in the cantina today. After lunch, we will have the panel debate, and then we will have some different research projects after that. Before, as normal, we gather outside up in our Blue Innovation Arena for the Blue Maritime Hangout to grab a beer and a pizza. And, yeah, the concept is just hanging out, talking with people. There will also be some poster presentations up there on the screen from some different projects. And this year, also the Norwegian Research Council is supporting the arrangement, so we're very happy about that. So don't miss it. We also sent out an email yesterday for who will stay both on the Hangout and tomorrow on the workshop session. So if you didn't answer that email yet, it would be nice if you could do it during the day. And there's the forms thing in that. Yeah, I think that's it. Inger, as you maybe know from the emails, she is helping us and me with some technical stuff during the day. So she will, if you have any questions during the day, just please reach out to me or Inger. Yeah, I think I covered most things then. So then I guess it's only for me to introduce the host of the day. There is not really any surprise. With more than 10 years of research in co-simulation, now as a senior research scientist in SINTEF Nordvest, coming all the way from Austria and Vigra, Severin, Sajina. I give the...
Thank you, Knut.
Take it away.
Ingo? Yeah, I don't know why you guys felt you needed to import from Austria to say something about seafaring ships, but that's not a topic. It is this one. It starts with a black slide, always throws people off. So I thought I'd do things a little bit differently this year. First off, if you're not at least a little bit queasy by the end of my presentation, thanks to my excessive use of PowerPoint animations this year, then I will have to consider that a colossal failure on my part. And secondly, and arguably more importantly, what I thought about doing this year is to take you with me on a magical mystery tour into the wondrous world of research. Or at least into the wondrous world of research as my colleagues and I had the pleasure of exploring since last time. Now, in the preparation of this year's conference, there were 4 main themes that emerged that help us get us closer to increasing the use of simulation technology in the maritime industry. This is not a complete list, but those are 3 big ones. We need to go from isolated simulations to system-level collaboration. We also need to work on lowering the barriers of entry and to help build competence. And we need to shift left to integrate simulation earlier and continuously in our workflows. And what I thought about doing is presenting 3 concrete research results or projects and show you how they tie into that bigger picture. So let's start with the first one. In 2024, we had a paper that was centered around the question, how can we best handle coordinate systems and coordinate transformations between models in co-simulations? That might not strike you as a super sexy topic or a very complicated one, but it's actually sort of both, because this is something we really need to figure out. This is a major practical pain point when you connect 2 models. And also turns out coordinate systems and transformations between models in a co-simulation is actually difficult. And the reason for that is, amongst other things, that everybody does it differently. And because we have to deal with black box models, you often don't have the information to know what they're doing. And what's especially bad here is that things like these, everything is related to interfacing models. The system integrator, the person that actually puts together the system or the system simulation, is left with the burden of doing that. So what this work does, which was financed by the Research Council of Norway in the project SICO, is to give or define a set of basic principles and some practical advice, which we consider is the first step towards figuring out how we can sensibly handle coordinate systems in co-simulations. Another important point is to lower barriers of entry and to build competence. This paper was just published recently. That work is also financed by the Research Council of Norway in the SICO project. And the question we addressed here was, how can we estimate and control the accuracy of co-simulations? And there's actually quite a few works in literature that address this problem, but I would say that almost all of them have a very academic viewpoint. So many assume that you have full knowledge of the entire system, what's inside the models, or they assume that the models expose a lot of additional information. In this work, as well as all the research we're doing, we always try to take the industrial angle, where we assume, well, we have black box models that we have to deal with. They only expose a small set of information through minimal interfaces. And we would like to keep it as simple as possible. So this paper gives a review of methods to do just that. It also gives a few recipes in the form of pseudocode, so you can try yourself. And it also has a lot of practical advice, for example, how to choose the right step size for your co-simulation. And lastly, shifting left, integrating simulation earlier and continuously in our workflows. Another project funded by the Research Council of Norway, OptiStress, falls exactly in that vein. So the main idea here is basically, well, I would say, once we get to the point in the maritime industry that we can confidently set up and run co-simulations of entire ships to, as early as possible in the design phase, know how good a design is, we've come really far. And you will see examples of that already happening later today. But in general, most people aren't there yet. So that's the first step. But I would say that's not really what you want. What you really want is to use co-simulation and simulation technology to find optimal designs. So if you take the example of a fully electric car ferry, you would like to find a design that is optimized for fuel efficiency. But you also want to make sure that you have stress tested it thoroughly to make sure that there's no power outage in severe weather. So this is a contribution to the 16th International Modelica and FMI Conference in Switzerland in September that we attended. And it gives a review of the current academic landscape and identifies the biggest research gaps that stand between us and actually using co-simulation-based optimization and adaptive stress testing. All right, now our magical mystery tour bus is firmly back at port, floating on the ocean, as the AI that I used to generate this image thought would be appropriate. And we have to continue pushing the research frontier to get ahead. However, I would claim what's even more important is to focus on increasing the use of simulation technology in the maritime industry. And I hope that also this year's Open Simulation Platform Conference helps us do just that. So welcome to all of you. Thank you. Now, before I leave the mic and the stage in the very capable hands of the first speakers, I just thought at pointing you briefly at the opensimulationplatform.com website, where you can find open software, interface specification, reference models, use cases, project information, and recordings of past webinars on conferences. So go to opensimulationplatform.com. Don't do it now. Don't be that guy or gal. Do it later. And with that, it's my pleasure to introduce the first speakers, Armin from VART and Jon from Sintef Ocean. Since you're the first ones, you're going to be a little bit crash test dummies, so I thought about using you for some information for all speakers. This thing here is, how should I explain? Like the loops are on top and then the mic is in the bottom, because almost everybody, including myself, gets that wrong. When you get these clickety things, there's a mute button, so remember to unmute yourself before you want to say something. Here is the power device of the clickety clicker. Anything else?